Why cold calling is the hardest marketing channel. Guys, if you're watching this video, you probably already know. Cold calling is one of the hardest marketing channels, the hardest ways to find motivated sellers, especially in 2024. Look, I get it. I used to cold call 5 hours a day, 5 days a week for a year straight. I understand the monotonous grind of cold calling and how tough it can be. The fact that you're watching this already knows and you're clicking it instantly because you can relate to this. You get how tough cold calling can be. Now, the honest truth here is cold calling doesn't work for most wholesalers because you're trying way too hard. And before you think this video is like, oh, you just need to grind hard and everything's simple and just do that. It's not that video, okay? I'm not trying to explain to you why wholesaling is the easiest thing in the world and cold calling is super easy and there's a secret for $1,000. That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying here is you're being forced down the wrong lists, the wrong type of system, the wrong type of skip tracing, and ultimately the wrong type of system and box the wholesaling real estate guru industry is trying to put you into when it comes to cold calling motivated sellers that is going to be half as efficient as the system that I teach people that gets them way more rich, way more wholesaling deals. And here's the kicker, they pay me $0 at all. So what I want to do today is really show you my cold calling system, exactly how you can actually work less hours cold calling and make more money than the average guru trained student that paid $10,000 for a wholesaling course. Because frankly, you're wholesaling completely wrong. And really what I want to do is break down exactly how, especially me as a 19-year-old kid, was able to destroy other wholesalers in my own market by using a simple script, a simple system, and a system that gets results. Now, this is not a stupid system. This is a system where over 250,000 wholesalers in my free wholesaling course, freewholesaling.com, have actually used to become successful and get better results than anyone else in the country. So let's break it all down. So right here is my cold calling system, Zatkin's cold calling system for wholesaling real estate. If you click on the link below, you should get a PDF to this, just a quick downloadable part of it where you can download this PDF for yourself so you can know exactly the right system for you. Now, I charge $0 for this because you need to learn how to wholesale real estate for free. Now, I have a lot more information at freewholesaling.com, my free real estate wholesaling course, but hopefully this should help you just get some positive momentum in your business. So what I want to do right here is kind of break down exactly a tale of two wholesalers. And I think those will help you kind of understand wholesaling real estate from a fundamental perspective when it looks like the average wholesaler getting into us that is paying a $10,000 course from a guy or gal learning how to cold call that hasn't done a cold calling deal in like 17 years, right? So let's kind of like break down what a guru trained cold caller looks like. So if you look here, a guy that pays a $10,000 course, and I see a lot of these, they're going to tell you pretty much the same stuff, right? And minus them telling you how to pay a VA and do an extra $1,000 a month with an upgraded charge. If you're doing it by yourself, this is what they're going to tell you to do. Most likely pay $99 to a guru's own software, right? They probably have their own software program that they actually have because they don't want to get any affiliates and they want to get the whole thing, which is fine. They make their own software. It's not as good. They're probably paying around $99 for this one. That's just the industry average. And you get about 10,000 list polls. Now, they could be using good software. You know, I love PropStream, Batch, Deal Machine, right? Maybe they're doing that. But most likely they're promoting some off-brand software type thing you've never heard of before, which is not getting good results. Next, in line with the industry, they're probably going to pay 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cents. I would say 12 cents on average, right? Per record for skip tracing. They're going to tell you need to do 10,000 skip traces because that's the going number. You got to spend money to make money. So you're going to be out about $1,200 this month on skip tracing, which is insane. And this is pretty much the average, right? I've spent a lot of money skip tracing, right? Now, they're going to tell you for time efficiency to pay about $150 a month for a dialer, specifically a triple line dialer. Now, this actually isn't wrong, and I actually don't think this is terrible advice. I always advocate for triple line dialers, especially when you're cold calling more than 4,000 or 5,000 leads every single month. Especially if you have a VA in a system, this is definitely a must. But I mean, my system doesn't have this, but you can do it. And I will tell you, when I was cold calling hours and hours and hours and hours a day by myself on paid lists because I was doing this all virtually, this was something I did do. So I'm not demonizing this, but this is what they're going to tell you to do, right? And it's just part of the guru trained industry. And they're going to tell you, you know, 25 hours a week of cold calling is what you got to do. And that's really what I did. 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, 25 hours, right? And you got to do 10,000 leads. And that is just a basic wholesaling system. This is going to clearly cost you, I would say, $1,449. That's pretty on par what average wholesaling system is going to cost you. And we're like, oh my gosh, what's Zach's going to tell me it's going to cost me $900, right? No, like, let me show you what my system is. It's pretty simple, right? And you can even do my system on $0, but this is what the average person, once you pay for the course, right? They charge you $10,000 for a course, and they're going to say, well, you already paid 10 grand. Why don't you pay $1,500 just to keep the gas going, right? Hey, you spent $50,000 on a Mercedes-Benz, you're going to have to spend a couple grand on maintenance and tires, tinting the windows, and some gas, right? You already spent the 50 grand, right? That's how they kind of get you to spend all this money. And you go to this type of system. This is my system right here. This is the freewholesaling.com, the Gin, flip of the right training, whatever you want to call it, right? This is going to be my type of system. You paid $0 for this education, right? Now, you have two choices here. You can pay $99 for this, or you can pay $0 for this. Ultimately, it's kind of up to you, whatever one you want to do. But really, I would say if you want to kind of have on-par results to a guru-trained program, this is probably going to be the best cost-effective system. Now, obviously, you can do $0 and just use cyberbackgroundchecks.com or even truepeoplesearch.com. These are two paid skip tracing softwares that you don't even have to pay dmzach.com for this, but it is something you can do for $0. Don't let my people have no money out here on an island here. You can do it for free. Just go to freewholesaling.com. We show you how to do that, right? But really, this type of system, if you want to kind of have comparable results to the gurus, I would say pay $99 for dmzach.com. It's basically another software. It's called Deal Machine. dmzach.com gives you some free goodies. I think you get still 30, 40, 50 bucks in credits. You get some free direct mail with that, and you can use the app. You get free unlimited skip tracing after you pay, obviously. It's definitely the greatest bang for your buck skip tracing software system I've seen. Now, I'm telling you, I still use PropStream, ListRA.com. I still use Batch on a daily basis for the comping and the data. That they definitely are on slightly different levels. I think PropStream and Batch have the best data possible. But for bang for your buck, dmzach.com is amazing. But let's kind of talk about the system right here, right? Pay $99 for dmzach.com, right? We're balling on a budget here. You're going to pay $0, 0 cents per record because it's basically free, right? And let's say about 1,900 government lists. It's not that crazy to pull a bunch of these type of government lists. I would say the arrest records, water shutoffs, probates, fire damage properties, pre-foreclosures, probably text to pre-foreclosures, honestly. Arrest records, evictions list, right? Any type of government list I teach at freewholesaling.com, these are free records you get from the government. Now, I want to make it very clear. The reason why I'm telling you to pull government lists and not pull lists that you can get from dmzach.com still for free is because we're not here for you to cold call the wrong way. The wrong way to cold call is to sit behind a desk for hours and hours and hours and get nobody wanting to sell their property. If you are watching this and you're sick of cold calling, you probably have gotten used to people saying, oh, you're the 10th person to call me today, and you're the 5th person. And it's like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Ugh. And I get it. It's super frustrating. What you want to do is, yes, it's going to be a little more difficult to pull this list, but once you pull this list, you upload it into dmzach.com, get it skip traced like that, get a better bang for your buck. That means for every 1,000 calls you make, you have a way better percentage. We're going to break down the percentages and leads here and the lead conversion cycles of these type of leads where calling 1,000 is like calling 10,000 on a paid list because no one's calling these leads, so they're less saturated. And you're just fishing in a pond. I got the fishing shirt on today. You're fishing in a pond where no one's fished before versus there's 10 fishermen in the other pond. You're gonna catch more fish. And then on top of this too, and I'm kind of cheating here, but no guru tells you to do a system like this. Dedicate at least 5 hours to reverse driving for dollars and driving for dollars, just pulling what we call earned lists. That should produce about 100 leads a week, which is probably gonna be 500 a month on average. Now, this type of system is actually going to be working less than 25 hours from a guru. So you're probably going to do about 15 hours a week of cold calling and then 5 hours of driving for dollars a week, which is going to be around 20 hours total. Now, in total, you're going to be dealing with only 2,400 leads. And you might be like, oh, Lord, Zach, you're going to get killed here, right? You're doing 2,400 leads versus the other guy doing 10,000. You're definitely going to lose. I want to come back to one of my favorite Bruce Lee quotes. I fear not the man that practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear a man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. The emphasis here, like Bruce Lee was saying, was being proficient and highly effective is going to be way more deadly than spreading yourself thin with all these different lists. That's one of the true meanings of mastery here. Now, this system is going to cost you a whopping $99 versus $1,449, which is crazy. For like a year of this is going to be less than even 1 month of the other person's system. And so let's kind of see what the results that I've statistically found from both these systems. Now, I've ran both of them before, and I'm going to tell you the results. Now, if you look on the average guru trained cold calling type results, with a triple line dialer, they're probably going to make 100 calls per hour. That's kind of on the conservative side. If you have a triple line dialer, maybe you got 5 lines going, whatever you're doing, right? I know some gurus telling you to do a 10 line dialer, which does not work with the stir shaken and all the regulations now. It's definitely going to be triple line dialers the most you want to have right now. It's all about length per call right now to making sure you don't get spam. But if they use the ZachDialer.com features, you can pretty much be on compliance there. Doing around 100 calls per hour, about 25 hours a week. Let's call it a 15% contact rate, which I think is pretty good. You're gonna get around 1,500 contacts. Now, these are gonna be the average paid lists, high equities most likely, vacants, tired landlords, and probably some absentee owners here. In every guru's favorite list, the unknown equity list. I would say you're gonna have about 1% of the people you call say, yes, I actually am interested in selling my property, which for the month is gonna lead you to around 15 leads or 15 yeses. Now, this is the part of cold calling and wholesaling real estate industry that nobody wants to talk about, and they don't really have any statistics on this, but it kind of sucks. When you get 15 leads, people actually wanna sell their house. Half these people end up just being, I want too much for my house. I'm not really that motivated to sell. Yeah, I kind of am, but now I'm not. They never answer you back, and you're stuck in this perpetual callback loop, and they just kind of ghost you, right? Half those leads just go back in the trash. Now, I always follow up with them. I get it, but you're going to say statistically about half of these are going to be qualified per se. So about of those 15, I would say 8 are going to be qualified leads. And then of those 7 qualified leads, when you actually start going into making the offers, maybe even going in person on the appointments, and really when the rubber hits the road on closing them, I would say you're going to have a statistical average 25% closing rate. Now, if we're doing direct mail and we're meeting everyone in person and we have the perfect conditions, we can probably get to a 65, 70% closing rate, which is what my company is. But those are on really highly qualified and higher cost leads right now. On average, when we're cold calling, we're gonna be closer to 50% in my own company. If you mix virtual in person is gonna be still closer to 65%. Virtual is probably 40. But really for the average newbie, I'm gonna say here, let's call it a 25% closing rate. And that's being very, very generous. Probably on average gonna get 1 to 2 signed contracts, and one of those are gonna fall out because you locked it up for too high. So I'm gonna say on average with the system, you're probably gonna close 1 wholesaling deal. So if we look at the stats here, you're gonna spend about $1,449 to make, let's say the industry average $15,000 on a wholesaling deal, which honestly is not a bad thing at all. And really this is the average, I guess, success story. It's the freewholesaling.com trained wholesaler type system. Now, to kind of equate what a guru system will get you, right? Let's say you're doing about 40 calls an hour. Remember, you're gonna do it from your personal cell phone here, doing around 15 hours a week, because you're using that extra 5 hours for drawing for dollars. You're gonna get an industry average around 20% contact rate. Remember, this is not gonna be a saturated list. So not every wholesaler and their mom is calling these people, so you're gonna get a higher response rate. And on average, you're gonna get about 480 contacts. Now, 2% of these people are most likely gonna say yes, not 1%, because they're just way more motivated. And you're probably gonna get about 10 yeses or 10 leads. Now, again, half of these are not gonna be motivated, so you're gonna be roughly 5 to 6, and your closing rate is gonna be around 33% on a government type of list, because of when they wanna sell their property. So you're gonna encounter the same 1 to 2 signed contracts. Now, there's the same 50% that kind of get lost with locking up the deal too high or the deal just falling through. So you're still going to average 1 to 2 closed deals in this system, which is going to be kind of the same as the other one. Now, here's the kicker. If we add in that extra 5 hours to cold call more, we're going to get 33% more cold calling in. So if I did 5 extra hours a week, which is 20 hours, that's going to be 800 more calls made. With a 20% contact rate, that's 160. 2% say yes, that's 3.2 leads. Divide by 2, closing rate 0.33. That'll probably get us an extra 1 to 2 deals by cold calling an extra 5 hours. So really, yes, I'm trying to make the system in a way where you're working less and making more. This is the best equivalent system I can see of how if you want to spend less money, spend less time cold calling, and make way more money, there's a clear difference between these two. You do not have to spend this much crazy money to be making that in wholesaling real estate. Now, on top of this too, if you want to see this system right here, if you're just cold calling 25 hours instead of the average 15, you're going to be doing 800 contacts, 16 leads, 8 qualified sellers, 2 to 3 signed contracts, and probably 2 closed deals on average, making $30,000. Just showing you, if you just bump up the cold calling, the results will follow. I think 25 hours is a golden rule to get consistent wholesaling deals in. They'll give you wholesaling real estate results. Now, the other half of cold calling is just knowing how to answer the objections and using the right scripts. But really, a lot of the issue is just getting out there and doing the work. So if you're ready to start doing the work and cold calling the right way and using the right system like I have here, go to the link in the description, download the PDF, start going to freewholesaling.com, learning actually how I cold call and actually watching me do live cold calls and closing real sellers so you can start closing wholesaling deals and making a ton of money in your wholesaling real estate business. Guys, if you got any value from this video, do me a favor, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. This is Zach signing out. Have a blessed one.